Politics and Perspective with Chrys Johnson. Palpable paradox. Polarity. PG.
Well, welcome to Players Pick Podcast.
I'm so excited. This is awesome.
Oh man, it's been wonderful getting to know you over the last I don't know how long it's been, but a series of months. And I knew early on that I was like, oh, it's so much fun to chat with you that I wanted to have you on the podcast and see.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
and look at this.
Oh, my mug that I got you.
Yeah.
That's so cute. Oh, I love that.
So I'm drinking my Road Roaster Kick Ash.
This morning. Thank you for sending me that. Oh, I didn't have that one.
I don't know if I sent you this one.
No, not that
okay.
one.
This one's like a kind of like a medium dark. It's
Okay, cool.
It's not the super dark. You got the hella dark, I think.
Yeah, I got the hella dark.
Dark,
that's strong.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. So I brewed that up with, I have some dark cacao that I like to put in the coffee and brew it as well.
I just got a milk frother. Is that right?
It's a game changer, right?
It's so good. Like, I feel like I'm at a cafe in my kitchen, but I get coffee like 3 times a day. It's terrible. It's also really good.
This is cup number 3. So you're in good company. So I have my awesome cup from Sarah and the good coffee in it from Road Roaster. And I have you on the line. So let's chat, because I'm curious. And you said that you've never really been interviewed before. Is that true?
Never. No one's been interested in interviewing. Just kidding. But that's true.
I don't believe that.
I just believe. No, it's really true. No one's ever asked me to interview me. Yeah,
wow.
So it's super cool. And
okay.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Oh, well, you're welcome. I'm so excited to have you a part of the Kiesel team as well. That's kind of how we, found out about each other.
What number?
This is going to be episode number 97.
I thought it was okay. I'm not 100, but close.
You're real close.
Okay.
I wanted to try to make it to 100 before the end of the year, but man, so many life things have been happening. Yeah, I know. But we did just hit 1,000 subscribers plus.
Woo-hoo!
So first 1,000 out of the way. And super excited about that. Oh my God. And before we even get started, I'm just going to share this with you for the first time and for the world, because this will probably go up before I do the next podcast. The next podcast is Steve Vai.
No way.
Yeah.
I was just talking about him with my dad.
Really?
That's so crazy. Yeah, he's one of my favorite guitarists. Yeah.
Dude, same.
But that's awesome.
No, I'm so hyped right now. Like I don't know. I'm doing my best to like not freak out, because like all day I'm like,
don't fangirl.
Well, I mean,
fangirling for you.
Yeah, I'll let you do the fangirling, and I'll do my best to keep it together. But I'm super excited. Next week.
That's really hard to like level to that. I can't. Okay, well, that's great.
It takes all kinds, right? And that's the thing I think is super sweet.
That's awesome.
Thanks. I'm excited because, as you know, like I'm a big fan of what you're up to too. Like it's like we wouldn't be working together if I wasn't a fan of what you're up to.
Right.
And you represent such a unique category, right? Because you're not just a singer. You're not just a piano player. You're not just a tenor saxophonist. You're not just a harp player. You're not just any of these things. You're definitely.
I'm passionate. That's the best way to put it.
Easy to say that. Yeah. And the thing I know about you in the last, I don't know, it's probably 4 or 5, maybe 6 months or something that we've known each other. And what I love about this is being in contact with you is that you're such a nerd about the music stuff. Like you go hard. You're always working. And I don't think that many people out there, they're just tuning in because you're a pretty face on Instagram or this or that. Prior to them getting to know you, I don't think that they really know that. They can't possibly understand.
I started, with Instagram, it's so silly sometimes when you try to show your best, you showcase the best that you can do and everything. But this year, I think I want to focus more on music. And I have been doing that for like the last month, but this week, and then I'm getting unfollowers, but I'm okay with that because it keeps the ones that actually care about the music, because that's what I want to do. So you can have a girl with 1 million followers and she releases a song or something, no one cares. You have all those followers, but because you're doing whatever. And I think I'm going to kind of gear towards more of showcasing what I'm truly passionate about, and that is music. So
yeah, that obviously shows to me, and I think that anybody that takes more than a passing glance is going to find out real quick, oh wait, she's not just trying to show pictures of her nice hair. She's actually going to show me some badass piano licks and harp licks, and like put a bunch of cool original songs together mixed in with cool covers. Like,
that's what
it's very cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, I just recently picked up a couple instruments. I didn't know that I have an obsession with doing that. Like just recently, like I do everything in my little home studio. So picking up new instruments is really fun to me. Like my mom played alto sax in high school and first chair and stuff. So I was like, wow, that's awesome. So I picked up the alto in middle school band, and she had this kick-ass tenor. And that's what the tenor was that I posted. My mom did a fantastic job picking that one. It's Yamaha. And it's the most beautiful tone I've ever really heard from an instrument. So I'm super excited. It's really excited to learn to play that correctly.
And you said that you're already immediately basically trying to implement it on an original song.
Yeah. So I've been working on this song, and it's so lately the music that I've been posting on Instagram is like kind of like sad ballads in a way. I'm not saying it's boring. It's not boring. It's how I feel, but this is definitely out of my comfort zone in an awesome way. It's like blues rock. It has a really cool groove, and I did it with my dad. And there's real drums, which is super, super awesome. And so we're gonna do like a tenor sax solo at the end, just to put it in there. We'll see. But the song is done, and I'm really, because I've written full songs before, but I trash them. I put them off to the side because I'm not like totally into it. These genres I get so picked up with, like French jazz or progressive rock, it's just whatever I end up listening to that week is what I'm like, that's what I want to do. Like, that's my genre. That's what I want to be known for. But at the end of the day, it's, original is original, and you can be influenced by many different genres. It doesn't have to be in one category. So this is influenced by a lot of different things that I'm into. So I'm finally this year been working at trying to release something since I was like 15.
Wow.
Been waiting for like the right year.
2022 is your year. That's what's up.
Yeah, you're my birthday.
Oh yeah, your birthday's coming up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool.
February.
Yay. So, well, take us back. Like, since we're talking about, how long you've been waiting to do the thing, and kind of put your first few like singles and album or EP or whatever you're going to do. I'm curious to kind of just hear about your story a bit. Like, how did it start? Is piano the first instrument? I know your dad has played a big role in like inspiring you, but like, and also I know that you don't always play with the guitar pick, but if you tell us a little bit about, your relationship to guitar picks in the process, that'd be great.
I actually, where is your guitar pick? I have your guitar pick. I keep on my desk. I do not use it because I don't use guitar picks. Yeah, I tap. But yeah, my dad, when I guess it started in middle school band, the saxophone. My dad always played an important role. He used to play, because he went to Berkeley, and fantastic musician. I look up to him so much. And so he would always be playing the piano and stuff. So one day I came home with the saxophone, because they let us take it home to practice and stuff. And so he was playing the piano, and I sat down on the same chair and just started like playing the saxophone while he was playing the piano, and my fingers just somehow I didn't really hit a wrong note, but it must have been what he was playing in the key. It was just like, but it felt right. Like the saxophone, it just, I had a lot of soul for a little middle schooler. So that's, I guess, when I felt something for music. I've always loved music, you know, a lot of kids do, but that's when I started kind of really getting into it and asking my dad about what kind of music he listens to. And so one of his favorite guitarists is Jeff Beck. So I love Jeff Beck.
It's the best.
So then I started stealing his instruments and trying to figure them out. So actually there's on my Instagram is I took his bass and I plugged it into my amp. And there's like when at the time when Instagram was 15 seconds and it would loop kind of like Vine in a way, but I still have it on my Instagram because I think it's you know, good to document, you know, what I'm trying to do. And yeah, so I would make up like just original songs because I didn't know how to play other people's songs. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna, you know, do this. I watched him do it, so I tried to emulate it. So it went piano, well, actually saxophone, piano, then bass. And then I learned, yeah, I was never a picker, like with the pick. I took his Martin guitar when he went on a business trip. Naughty, I shouldn't have done that, but I did. He loves that thing. And I somehow knew how to finger pick more than, I didn't know any chords at the time because I literally just picked it up, and I would figure out like a shape and I would finger pick. So it was always with my fingers. It wasn't ever really when I got the first Kiesel, I tried to do it with a pick, and if you see in the video, I'm stumbling with it in the beginning. I don't think anyone noticed, but I don't know. Yeah, so
I didn't notice.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
okay, I'm good. Yeah. So I guess it was really my dad having access to those instruments is what I was curious. So
That's awesome. And do you feel like when you kind of started coming into your main curiosity around music, was each instrument in support of a vocal idea or wanting to do something with vocals, or where did the vocals land? Were you singing as a younger kid too, or?
Yeah. So one of my best friends in elementary school, she loved Broadway. And I was like Miss Tomboy, and I'm like, like I don't care about anything or whatever. So she would always be in the school plays, and so she would always get like lead role of like Annie and stuff. It was awesome, but I cared about that she loved what she was doing though. But I remember in kindergarten, you know, Phantom of the Opera. So there's not the main title, but there's a song. It starts off with Christine, Christine. So I would sing that when I'm like in first kindergarten grade, around there. And such a weird, that was my first introduction to wanting to sing, was opera, I guess. In a way, it was soft. It was very mellow because I loved that movie and I really liked the instrumental. So then I started listening to like blues, and that is my main, I love singing the blues and jazz too. But so in some videos, I'm trying to develop this rasp, you know, so there's also, I kept it on my Instagram of me belting, you know, so I would play the piano and belt original blues. And then that's when I was like, like maybe I could start to accompany myself. But it was never like I didn't ever think about it, you know, like I would just kind of be inspired by whatever my dad was playing. And you know, I'm sure it was very annoying to hear me because I would record myself of me singing these way out of my range, like at the time. Now I'm glad I've practiced so much. But my parents, I feel so bad. I feel so bad. But now they're, they're proud of me for the dedication for that. But at the time, I'm sure it was like, shut up.
I can imagine them being super proud of you for a lot of reasons, and especially just again, just knowing you in the short, 5 or 6 months, that like I feel this continuous dedication from you, because and thank you for sharing with me like parts of your process too, because that, again, like I'm in touch with a lot of great players, and occasionally I get inside stuff, from like, hey, like I'm working on this, check it out. And I'm like, I always feel so honored in that situation, because I'm a fan of the process too, and I feel like I'm more in the process than I ever am in the completion cycle, and I think that's probably most of us, but it's cool, because I guess you don't know somebody until you spend time, exchanging with them. And I guess it's just super obvious that you're in this, and you do so much of it on your own, like in your room, producing, mixing, and doing the whole thing. Am I right?
Yeah. I just switched from Logic to Ableton, and my workflow is way, way, way better. I'm not promoting Ableton, by the way. This is not an ad. But way better, because you can like color code. I didn't know that I was into that, but I guess I like to color code things. So it's super awesome. And I just got, I don't know where it is, but the U87, the Neumann.
Yeah.
That thing is awesome. And so I've been, like, I've always thought that when you first get an instrument, you shouldn't go for like the cheapest thing that is out there just because you're learning, just because you're beginning to learn. I think that if you get excited about how it sounds, and usually it costs a little bit more money, the better sounding ones, but you get excited. If it sounds good, you want to practice more. You want to hear it, you want to hear it more. So I think that I'm a firm believer in like quality over quantity, I guess. So I save up, and that's pretty much all I spend my money on, except coffee.
Coffee and instruments.
Yeah,
that's a good combo.
Yeah, I for sure. I just got this microphone,
the SM7B.
Yeah, it's super cool because you can it's like live, like you don't have to have your headphones on it. Like it's low-key great for saxophone, not strings. No strings. Do not play a violin on that.
Yes, probably not. You have to probably have, do you have a booster on it? Like see, I don't have a booster on mine either. I need to actually do that. That would actually gives it more range or more ability to pick up stuff. But I agree with you. It's great for like louder instruments, and for singing and screaming and stuff like that. Because it feels
Isn't
like
it a great metal microphone. That's what I heard. That's cool.
We used it for vocals on both my metal band's old albums, and it was one of the things that you could take it off, and it's one of the things that you can have it be a handheld thing, so that you don't have to. Because our vocalist oftentimes they're so used to being on the microphone and just like screaming into it, and to have a really nice condenser there is cool, but it's weird because they want to do something with their hands, and so this mic actually allows for that.
Isn't that is it Talladega Nights that he's like, I don't know what to do with my hands? Have you seen, okay?
I have seen it, but I don't remember exactly what you're.
Will Ferrell, and he's being interviewed, and he keeps putting them up, and
Oh, that's right. they like put your hands down. That's right. I'm
not sure what to do with my hands.
He's one of the best. Oh my gosh! I just actually found. Do you ever see that the landlord or the tenant like skit on Funny or Die? It's this little kid that can barely talk, and she's playing the landlord, and she's there to collect the rent, and he's calling her Pearl. He's like, Pearl, I don't have your money, and Will's like, he's like saying, I'll have more money for you next week, and
it's a little kid.
It's just a tiny little. I'll send it to you. It's this tiny little kid, and she's like, I don't need no
I needed
excuses,
it
bitch.
yesterday.
No, she's like cussing.
Give me
She's
the
like,
money.
I need your money now. It's
Funny.
super funny. He's one of the
Great.
best.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, so you meant, yeah, actually, in the vocal department, you have kind of like, I don't know if it's like you consider it your signature thing or not, but like you have this cool vibrato thing that happens, and I'm curious of like if that just arose naturally, or if that was something, if there's a singer that modeled it for you, that you were kind of like, oh man, if I could have a vibe like that, or how did that come around?
That's a good question. So there's this singer, Beth Hart, who do you know her?
I know the name. I'm trying to think of, I don't know what she plays or what her songs are.
An album with Joe Bonamassa, and I think she has like one of the prettiest voices ever.
Yeah.
It's very strong, and she does this vibrato. Mine's different than hers. Not mine. My voice is just different. But I think about her sometimes, like if I'm wanting to do that. But there's a lot of like jazz singers that I listen to that kind of do that. And they don't do it so fast though. So like when I do it, it's less of a smoother thing. You know what I mean? I think about both of them. I think about Beth Hart, and she does it a lot. And then like a lot of jazz singers have that kind of vibrato. Yeah, I guess that's a good way to put that. I don't know why I do it. I like it, I guess.
That's
fun.
a good reason. That's reason enough.
When you mix kind of genres and different techniques from different genres, it's kind of cool. You know, kind of like it's cool to mix a certain way that you play in a genre and put it in a different setting. It's just different. I was just experimenting, I guess.
Totally. That's great. It's something that I noticed that is a reoccurring theme too, is that you obviously have a wide interest in music. So sometimes you're kind of going for the genre itself and you're kind of staying close to it, but sometimes you can feel the pull of another interest of yours that's getting interjected into whatever it is that you're presenting, whether it be original or a cover song, which I like that. I feel like it's good to know what you're up to, you know, like, oh, I'm going for kind of almost the thing, you know, but just my flavor, or I'm kind of mashing a few things together and seeing what happens.
Yeah, that's more of what it is. But I'll try different lately I've been trying different voicings for strings in my mixes. Like before I was kind of just like emulating the chord of the piano, but now like I'm kind of realizing as I'm watching like videos and stuff, because I'm learning the violin now, and my goal is to have real strings in my mixes. I guess that's why I'm learning violin and cello, is to have like that real like rawness.
Yeah. Is there a lot of crossover between those two?
So I mean, I feel like the violin is just like a small cello to me, like when I'm holding it, because I'm used to the cello, so it's kind of cool to be able to hold it. It's cool. But when I got, because I ordered it impulsively a little bit, I got some Christmas money, and this one model is on back order everywhere, and I finally found a site that had one left. And then so I'm like, take my money right now. Give me that. So, you know, it came in the mail, and I have a music shop, like a small shop where I live, and I had them like look over it, make sure it's like the real deal or whatever, and they're like, it's awesome. And I'm like, great.
Cool.
So I'm playing it. Yeah.
That's awesome. So that's going to be, we haven't seen any violin videos yet, right? You're going to,
I like to keep it pretty open with all the progress that I do with the instruments. You know, I don't try to be perfect right away, but there is actually I made up a like a vocal thing of the strings. I don't even know how to say it. Like, it's on there. It's like a very church choir or whatever. And then so it's my first few notes on the violin, and I'm not vibrato, or what's that? Forgot what that's called. What is that? Yeah, what is it? What is that called?
What, legato or vibrato or?
No, is it vibrato? I think it's vibrato. I'm not sure if it's the same term for violin.
It's like when you're
Yeah.
wiggling the finger, right?
Vibrato for violin.
I think it should probably be the same thing on there.
Sure.
You know.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll go with it.
Yeah, okay. So I did not do that because I don't know how to really do that on the violin yet. I didn't try it yet, but I'm sure it's probably the same thing on the cello. Now that I think about it.
I know that it's different on fretless instruments because you're not trying to make it go up and down in the same way like you are with a fretted instrument, right? So
that's one thing, because the cello and the violin, no frets. And so with the cello, when I was first learning, I put a like stickers on it to to show that, like, okay, this is where you're supposed to put your finger. I did not do that for violin. I kind of just went straight into it. And I played for like 3 hours. I'm like, what am I sang with it too.
Wow.
Which is weird. I never really heard anyone do that. And I don't know if that's there was a reason for it. But yeah, I was in my room in here, and that's how I know that I'll be passionate about it, is if the first time you really get into it, because that's how it so actually funny, I have, for each instrument, I get like a dream before I purchase it. I'm like shredding on that instrument, and then that's when I'm like, okay, that's the next instrument.
Wow.
So I had a dream that literally the night before I purchased the violin. I don't even know where it is. It's in there. Okay. So I had a dream that I was like fiddling around, and I'm like, I woke up and I'm like, damn, like I cannot do that. I have to do that. So I think it'd be really fun to learn, like, because I'm a redhead, like I'm Irish, so I can try and, do that kind of music. That'd be fun. That'd be a lot of fun.
That'd be super cool,
right?
to see you do that. Yeah.
The harp, you can kind of do that kind of music too, and
Celtic style.
Yeah. So I that's my goal for this year.
Okay, that'd be interesting to incorporate the harp and the violin.
Right. Yeah. I'm getting an upright piano in my little space. I think that'd be really cool, because right now I use the Nord Stage 4. But my mom has a Steinway, and I go over there sometimes, and I'll be able to play, but only when no one's home, because I'm shy. But
how many instruments do you have, and like, are you practicing or playing on the regular these days?
That's a good question. I have not counted. I guess we could just I feel like that's like, I don't know,
it's
like
okay.
bragging. I don't know. I'm not trying. I mean, okay, so piano, saxophone. Can you count? I don't think you can count alto and tenor as 2 different instruments.
Well, if you don't want to, yeah, it's fine. I mean, just in general, like, we'll find out. So good. You have piano, saxophone,
cello, harp, guitar, bass, the ocarina. Really like the ocarina.
I saw that. That's cool.
I don't know. I try.
That's enough. That's a lot.
The trumpet.
Oh, that's right, trumpet.
I have a flute that I just got, so I'm gonna try and my Instagram feed is awesome because it's all orchestra stuff of just random people who are like students at music schools, and it's just super cool because I don't get all the girls. Like I don't like, I used to like, I'm like, you go girl, like that, but I'm just like, okay. So I follow a lot of like makeup, because they show their face, and they do like a lot of like really cool looks and stuff. But my favorite posts are bunnies. I get a lot of bunnies on my pages, but and like there'll be pages of that, like practice room. They'll label it like, I don't know, like Amanda's practice room, And it's super cool because I dig that. I dig like the rawness of like, you don't have to be perfect. Like it's, you know, it's fun. It's a passion. It's just kind of a learning opportunity to show your emotions. So I think it's more of the, I like seeing like younger like kids kind of learning, and it's just really, really cool. There's some really talented young children. So it's nice.
That's cool. Sounds like you've curated your feed
Yes.
to a good place at this point, whereas a lot of us probably still have pretty haphazard feeds where stuff that we liked 10 years ago and still like floating through there.
Someone told me that they stopped liking my pictures because all they get are redheads. And usually typically those redhead pages, they're not PG-13.
No.
At all. So they literally do not like my post because they're my friend, but they don't
interact with the page.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which, you know, it's all right. It's all right.
I can attest that since I've interacted with your page, that yes, there are more redheads in my feed. That is true.
There's more redheads in my feed too.
I'm not mad about it.
I'm not either.
I'm not.
Me either.
I don't hate it.
No,
I'm fine.
I
enjoy
it.
I'm curious, like what were some of the what's some of the earliest music that you remember your parents playing around you and that has still kind of stuck with you, you know, that you're still kind of like nostalgic about?
So my mom, whenever she would cook, she'd play Seal.
Sweet.
And Gino Vanelli, but Seal specifically, I've gone to his concert. He's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Really good.
What an incredible voice.
Yeah, and just an amazing person. Like I follow his Instagram, and he just posts like very motivational, just inspirational. He's a great guy. So I still enjoy listening to him. And I actually did Kiss from a Rose cover for my mom. You know, I ended up posting it and he commented on it and liked it. It's super cool. I fangirled. I was like, whoa, that's awesome. So he's super interactive with his whole fan club. I'll call it a fan club.
Yeah. I know that little vibe. I have this is like years ago, but when I first started teaching yoga, I curated a class and a playlist that was all the playlist was all D'Angelo and Erykah Badu. And when I posted about it, I tagged them in it, and Erykah Badu like commented on the post and was like hearts and like I was like, oh my god, like I like.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it made me really happy. It still makes me happy thinking about it. It's still there somewhere back in the day. That's cool. So Seal was one. What about your dad? What did your dad listen to a lot of, or what was he playing that kind of influenced you?
Michael Hedges.
Oh, Michael Hedges is awesome.
And then there's this, he does not like to listen to music. He figured like okay, well, that's not like a good way to put that. He like will figure it out. So it's like work in his head. Like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes he just wants to just vibe, just without music, and it's just really funny because he's such a musician, and I didn't understand it when I was younger. I'm like, dude, like how are you such an amazing musician and you don't listen to music? How are you doing what you do? But now I understand it because there's a couple singers that I'll listen to and I can't get them out of my head, and they have a very specific tone. I cannot help but sounding like them when I'm just, I don't know, when I'm cooking or something, and I just will be listening to them, and I will literally mock, not like in a bad way, but like I will mock their voice because I'm able to sound like them if I want to do that for fun. And it's just, I feel like that's the same thing.
So you actually you're touching on something that is really interesting, because in the sea of musicians out there, those with and it sounds like you've taken obviously work to develop your ear, obviously, but you also have a certain amount of natural innate ability, maybe being around mom and dad, listening to the music or whatever it is, but your ear obviously is developed into a good place. And those people that have more like a stellar ear, and your dad sounds like your dad has a really good ear.
Mhm.
They almost, I find that is a similar, like a reoccurring thing where they're like, oh, I can't, especially when they're creating music.
Yeah.
If they're in the writing mode, they don't want to listen to anything because they're like, I've heard a lot of music. I don't need to be influenced by
Right.
anybody, because then they're too much of a sponge. And then all of a
Right.
sudden they're like, oh, that riff I'd heard on the radio, that now I'm accidentally almost writing the thing into my song.
Right.
And I don't
Yeah.
want that.
No, it's funny. His party trick is, and I don't ask him to do it, but they'll be like, okay, because we'll give him a song to like I don't know, Polyphia.
Oh,
Goat. So I love that song. So
same.
I was like, do it. But that's a different genre, but he can hear it, like, and do it. It's really cool. So I cannot do that on guitar. I can do that on piano, but like I have like a different kind of style on guitar. And I think the instrument that I use the most for writing is piano. But then
sense.
Guitar is where I find like the voicings. Guitar is like the most fun for me though. Yeah,
That's cool.
but like ever since that I got like an interface and everything, I don't play through the amp. And I used, so a lot of my older videos were at my mom's house with my Fender tube, and I'd crank it up and it was like awesome. But like now I have like a guitar rig and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I feel that. I have a really nice tube amp setup here. I have a VHT Pitbull Ultra Lead that I've had for many years, and for many years before I had it, I always wished that I had it, and then I finally got it, and then now I've got a Fractal and all this dope interface stuff, and I kind of, it's so much easier to not mic that thing up and try to get good sounds, because I can, so.
And you can just wear your headphones. Like I don't, like, even though I'm not like around anyone, I don't want to bother anyone, even though like I'm digging it. Like I don't want to bum out anyone.
I get it. I'm usually in the studio late too, or late sometimes, or super early, which is late to other people.
Right.
And I mean, I live by myself, but I'm kind of in the same vibe. I like the headphones thing. I like the privacy of it.
Right.
Especially if I have guests over, then obviously, it serves a really good purpose, but if they're sleeping or whatever.
Right.
But I honestly, just the consistency of having everything plugged in. I actually have everything set up on a remote control. Like I have a little thing. But my buddy Drew, when he came to visit and help me with my hip hop thing last year, he was like, man, go get one of these little things. And you can put 3 of them in your house and just have like lights or whatever set up. So we ended up setting up my Fractal interface and all the stuff that I use to create to a 1-button push. When I step into the studio, I go on and everything.
That's awesome. Wait,
yeah.
Do you like creating more in like the morning or like the night?
I'm way more of a morning midday person these days.
Me too. These days.
Just mostly these days, because I get up so early to teach yoga a couple times a week. Like I'm usually up at 4 a.m. and then like teaching at 6. And so even today I didn't get up to teach, but I got up. I just still woke up at 4 a.m. and I couldn't help it. And I was like, okay, I'll just start working either on Kiesel stuff, or if I have a song that I'm working on, then it feels good to come in here with my coffee and just sit and go write it. Cause I'm going to be awake for a while. The evening time, I'm already done. Like,
yeah. I wake up like 5:30. And I like that, like no one's on the road, because I'll go get coffee and then I'll come back. But I remember at a young age when I was like trying to develop my voice, I still remember the day that I woke up and I was singing and it wasn't hard. Like sometimes like when you're learning to sing and everything, you have to warm up your voice. Now like it's awesome because I think, I think it is that I like to go for drives and like listen to a bunch of music, and I sing along with it. And I think that counts as practice.
Oh yeah,
I think
definitely.
that's actually developed my voice, and like being inspired by these great um musicians and singers. I'm still listening to the bass, I'm still listening to the guitar while I'm singing. And so I still remember the day, I think I was like 16. And I was like, yay. I was so excited. I was like, yay, like that's cool. Like it doesn't sound like I just woke up and I like, it was just cool.
Mm-hmm.
So now so I just set up, I have like this vocal shield. I don't do it in videos, but because I'm not going to a studio to record my vocals. I have everything I need, I think. But so I set it up and I tracked my own vocals for the song because I had good scratch vocals, but they weren't scratch vocals. They were originally going to be what the vocals were going to be. So, but I just used this new preamp and set it up with my Neumann with the U87, and just, I don't know where the anger came from, but it was awesome. It wasn't like real anger. You know what I think it was? The way I set it up, I kept hitting my headphone to the shield. And I'm like, damn it. Like, so there would be recordings where I'm like, shit. But that's not where, I don't know. That's probably not why I sang better. But this take is the most powerful I've ever sang. And it was last night. I don't typically work on my stuff at night because I take the videos in the morning with the light and stuff. But last night I'm like, I'm gonna do it. So I spent a long time, I tracked the whole thing and did the doubles, and then this morning, so this is why I was saying about the morning and singing in the morning at 7 a.m, which I even had some of my coffee, the coffee that you gave me. So I had my cup already, and you're not supposed to really like sing like with milk or like whatever. It does something, I don't know. But I was able to record my background vocals because I left the thing that I made, the vocal booth. And so yeah, it's good. Like I feel for the singers who are like up and coming and trying to develop their voice. They might get discouraged if they don't sound good at a certain time, or they always think that they have to warm up. I think if you do it enough and really work hard when you are practicing, it'll come way easier. Like now I can kind of just sing literally whenever, and that's a good skill to have, I think.
Sounds like you've developed a certain amount of muscle memory that you kind of like, you can hear a pitch and start in with it without having to futz around too much to like, you can kind of slide into it versus
sure.
Yeah, that's that one. And so did you do formal singing lessons? You just kind of you just came upon that on your own?
Yeah,
Wow.
for sure. Well, because I look up to the artists and musicians that I'm influenced by, and I'm like, I'm in awe. I'm like, I want to do what they do. So I learn that way by listening, and then I think I learned by listening and also doing it. So I'm okay with, at the beginning, like it wasn't easy. So like hitting those higher notes and stuff wasn't easy. So it was sort of discouraging when I would crack, or like my voice would, well, it wouldn't really crack. It would not hit the way I want to hit it. So now it's cool that you can sing a certain way. Like before, like I feel like when you're starting to sing, it's all about being on pitch. Like that's all really, like that's what you want to do. You want to be in pitch. But as you get further along, you can choose different ways to sing that pitch. And it's an artistic move that I think dictates what your sound will be. So like the vibrato, like I choose to do that because I'm influenced by jazz singers, or I'm influenced by whoever, and I want to show that in my music too, because I love it. But I think it's cool that you can choose rasp or you can choose a smoothness, but if you can't control it, you gotta kind of work on that. If you want to be able to choose between the two.
That's cool. So is there a warm-up thing that you did do for a while?
No,
Or you
no.
just warm up by singing, or how did you kind of come into it?
It's a good question. I think it's because I usually take my drives in the morning. Honestly, I'm thinking about that now, and I sing along, and then I end up doing something in the midday. And I feel like that's my warm up. But I do this thing, it's like microtones. I can't use them anywhere, but I do it all the time, like when I'm just like folding the laundry or something, and I won't do it here, but it's really funny. It's like a riff. It's like descending in the scale in a certain way. That's sort of my warm up.
Okay.
Yeah, it's microtones. And then I like, even though I don't really like make Ariana Grande's music, I like her whistle tones. So it's really fun to like sing in the car and do that. But I don't really do that with the type of music I do. There's no point.
You're all over the place too with this too. I like you do some rock stuff, and I like the way that you use. I'm interested to see how this new song with the saxophone and everything comes out, because you're telling me a bit about this, and I've heard a different version of this song. And which I'm excited. I was already excited about. But like I guess it's cool. You have you have all these different little tools in your toolbox, but there's like. And I kind of love that you're like, no, I just developed this by listening. I'm like, I love that you're not breaking out and going, no, I have this very clear pattern of like, I studied with this person and that person. I got this thing from them. But you just studied the music itself and the artist that influenced you themselves without finding a third party professional to come in and kind of like navigate it for you. It's so that part of it is always sweet to hear. I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking lessons or any of that stuff, obviously.
That's a good point, because that has been a thing where it's not necessarily the lessons part, but people have tried to change my sound. They want not my followers or anything. They're very, very, very supportive. Like that fact that I can just post me just literally just doing mediocre at best first hands on an instrument, and they're like, you go girl, like keep going. It's fine, it's great. But people have tried, like in terms of people in the music industry,
producers,
try to make pop, which is fine. It's just not me. It's not me. They want me to be like, it was terrible, like and then I've stuck to my guns, and I'm like, I'm gonna do this myself, because you're not gonna make me sell out or like just for money, so what I have, the love for music that I have is very strong, and it brings people together, so I want to be a part of that.
So it's interesting because I understand where producers and engineers were coming from at times, a lot of times, because there's a lot of people out there with talent that don't have direction or a guttural instinct about what it is they're going to do or where they're going. Like there's a lot of talent out there that just like sings along and then they come across Sarah Gibson, redhead, like strong-willed, strong intuition.
Like bull.
And she's like, no, you're not going to tell me. Sorry about that. I'm going to be over here doing my own thing. And that's, but because the world is kind of full of that, I can see why, it doesn't excuse anybody's scenario, but like, I could see why they would say, okay, look, we're going to try to, push you into this mold because we know that X, Y, and Z equals this type of success.
It will make them money.
Yeah.
You know, but usually they take a lot of credit for things that they don't do. You know what I mean? So it's taught me to be independent. So I'll mix my stuff, I'll record my stuff, I'll play the instruments, and it might not sound as good as it would be with someone who went to Juilliard or, you know, whatever, but like these producers or wherever, I'm not sure actually where the best engineering is, but yeah, it's not going to sound amazing as they would do, but it's me. It's authentic. I think that's way better, honestly.
It's so cool because I mean, you've sent me a ton of like pre-mixed type things where you're just like, this is raw, there's no effects on this, and I'm just like, holy shit, like no, seriously, all the time. Man, I it may even feel like disingenuous at some point because you send me stuff and I'm like, oh my god, wow, this is amazing, and you're probably like, oh thanks, but you always kind of say that, but like this, the truth is that like I'm always impressed, especially with the way that you like to layer your voice and with pre-effects, pre-compression, any of that stuff. I think you have, again, like, so, and you wouldn't figure that out if you weren't being, you know, attempting to you weren't practicing engineering yourself and producing yourself.
Yeah, you have to be able to kind of do it on your own, I think, to understand the process, because if you're just letting someone say, okay, this is what you mean, you don't mean what you mean then. And you're singing the song for however many people, and you're not really singing it to them. It doesn't count. It doesn't count. It's not, you know, you didn't write it. Those aren't your words. But some people do a really good job at taking those words and actually meaning it, and they do a good job. But it would be cool if there was more people who would, I guess, sing what they wrote, even if it's not that good. Like, it's okay. It's okay. Like,
see, that's the vibe I've been getting the whole time, is that there's something, yeah, you're only like 22, but like there's something old school about you. And, you know, and I love that about it, because there's a lot of cheats in the modern age at this point, right? There's a lot of cheats, there's a lot of ways. And like we use our DAW systems and all these things to our advantage as musicians that self-produce and engineer and everything. But you just kind of, like, all these different little ways, even in this conversation, you've kind of outlined, you're like, yeah, like I could do it in like this way, but like, you know, I don't know, I just listened to it and I figured it out. And so, and I think that there's something that maybe isn't always describable that happens, right? Like when you kind of fumble around in your own mire and you're like, oh, I don't know, I wonder what happens if I, that, oh my gosh, like I nobody would have ever taught me that thing, but I just figured that thing out for me, and I'm super excited. And then, but sometimes you press that button and you're like, I wonder if, and you're like, oh, horrible. Okay. Oh my God, never do that again. Don't want to see it. Don't want to hear it. Right. But you don't know those things until you play with it. Right. And you find out for yourself.
And people need to, you know, be okay with, you know, the process, you don't have to share the process if you don't want to, but I would hate for someone to be like upset with themselves because it doesn't sound good the first time. You know what I mean? Like, don't stop trying. So that's kind of like what I went with for this song that I'm gonna release. It wasn't quite, it was cool. It was like awesome. My dad ripped an awesome solo on it. Oh my God. Awesome. But I wasn't totally thrilled with my vocal performance. It sounded, well, at the time I was like, yeah, like that's good job. You went to your fullest or whatever. But over these last couple months, I felt like a different maturity in my voice, I think. So I just tried it again, and I was right. Like I feel like, and I'll send it to you, and you can A/B it. The first song version is, you know what, I think it might have been my mic though, because I had the TLM 2 and it cuts off a certain frequency. So this Neumann does a better job, and then I use a preamp and stuff, but I think it still is like the tone of my voice is much like deeper or richer in a way. I don't know if
And I mean, how old was the first recording? I don't remember. It's a year or two.
Not quite a year, like
Okay.
8 months.
Still, you do a lot in a year, 8 months, right? So like
Yeah.
the potential for you to progress is always there, you
And
know.
it's gonna be my first song, and I want it to be good, that I'm proud of it. Not necessarily good to everyone else. I wanna be like really proud of it. And to be honest, I haven't even I don't think I'm going to tune it. I tried really hard to make sure that it's, because in blues and rock you shouldn't that much.
Agree.
You know, you can do it in pop and stuff, but it just doesn't sound right if you do it for this genre. So I'm excited to, you know, like, that's my voice. But I'm just excited for the song in general because it means a lot to me, and it's the first song that I've written that is like kick ass. I hate to like it's really my dad though with the instrumentation. Sure. I can't play guitar like that, and right. You know, like, I hope one day if I perform it, you know, we do it together, like a badass.
I think that you having so this is the other part of it, I think, that makes things kind of magically, you know, magical in your world a little bit, and what it'll be interesting to see how it develops for you as you start releasing more and more original material in this way, is that you've decided to take most of the workload on your own shoulders. So up front, you've learned how to do so much for yourself, but you're also super willing to collaborate, and your dad is like obviously the number one closest collaborator to you, and I think that really shows just a lot of you know, intelligence in a lot of ways. I mean, because I don't want to knock anybody that does it all themselves, like, because I've got a handful of friends that are just super like, nope, right. I do it myself, you know, right. And I'm like, that's cool, because they're willing to take it as far as they can take it and know that was all them. And I can super appreciate that. For me, I'm a little impatient. So like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do just the parts that I know I can do pretty good. Yeah. Then I'm going to like hook up with my buddies, okay, and they're going to this part. Yeah. I'm not going to try to figure out it'll take me the next 4 years to learn how to mix this. So I'll pay you. How about that?
Yeah, I just think for the first release, I love that it's with someone that, you know, I look up to the most. And it will always be something so special, even if it doesn't like change my life in a way it like already has. Yeah. I mean, I would love to collaborate with more musicians, to be honest. I don't know how to.
Well, it's a difficult time. It's a difficult age for that too. The last couple,
but also not, because the technology, you can send like projects. Like, I don't know. I feel like that would be kind of easy. You don't have to be with them in person necessarily at first. True.
There's that element, that the technological thing is easy, but
the vibe in person is way better.
That's what I'm getting at. It's like these days, and I know that people are still doing it and still getting away with it. And I think a lot of those people that are still doing it are from the old school, and that's the only way or one of the main ways they know how to do it. So they're that kind of energy just kind of swirls around them in that respect. And then they've probably added in a whole element of the modern options. But yeah, like I really miss being in a room with other people and like having 2 or 3 hours and just like I don't know, you got any riffs, you know, and like, or you got an idea, you got a song, something that start us going, you know, and we'll work on it. Because those were the days, like, and I hate to say that it feels like I'll probably never have those days again like they were, because now the folk, there's a huge gap of like all those friends, I can still collaborate with them. That's the good news. I can just like you said, I can still collaborate with them. But like my drummer, he's got a drum school now, and he's so busy that like, we can figure it out, but it'll never be quite that thing with the band.
Well, I never had that experience, so I guess I can't miss something that I never experienced, but I kind of miss it. Like, yeah, I miss it in a way. Like, I think my prime was when I was a sophomore in high school, because that was when I like started, I did the talent show. I did House of the Rising Sun. That was the first thing I've ever won. So I was just like, okay, cool. So I had a bunch of bandmates that did I didn't know how to learn. I didn't know how to play piano, and I learned 2 weeks before for that show. And I played piano and sang for that concert. My mom plays that video all the time. It's so fun. I'm like, Mom, don't do that. She shows people, and I'm like, don't do that.
Oh, but that's like probably the greatest thing for your parents, like to look back and go, see, she only learned like 2 weeks beforehand, and we're so proud of her, and now look at her.
She loves this song that I'm going to release. That's why I think I am putting so much love into it, because the first version that I showed you, they play it all the time, and it's so cute. And so then I was like, do I start something from scratch? Like, I think I was trying to find my sound, but my sound was already there, if that makes sense. Like that situation arose from such specific circumstances, and I don't think I can recreate that environment that I did write that. I'm too happy to write a song like that again.
Okay.
So, but I still feel the same way about the situation that I wrote about, but it's good to have time sort of heal and open your eyes for something, because I sang it differently because I'm more mature and mentally, I think, about the situation, because you can be angry but not rationally, but now I'm angry and rational.
Ooh, I like it. It's a good combo. So it's going to come across more mature. There's going to have a little bit more maturity in how your delivery, it sounds like, and a little bit of retrospective like understanding of the situation.
Yes.
That's cool. So I know you have at least one dog, right? How many dogs do you have?
I don't have any that live with me.
Oh.
Yeah. Unfortunately. No one died, by the way.
Yeah, that's good. No, but it was like, you've sent me a couple pictures of a couple dogs, right?
Yeah. So Oliver is my long-haired dachshund, and he's so cute. He actually, so he lives with my mom, my parents. And so it's like a sad but kind of cool story. So like a month ago, they were so we have 2 Havanese poodles and Oliver. So that's with my mom. So she was letting them out in the backyard, and it's still kind of dark out. It's like 5 a.m. They like wake her up and stuff. And so Oliver, the little wiener dog, was, frolicking around, like chasing lizards and stuff. It's still dark out, and they heard a splash. Yeah, so he fell into the intercoastal, and it's still dark out. But I don't think they heard the splash when it first happened. They saw it on the surveillance camera, like heard it, because they were looking for Oliver. So hours passed, and they saw a brown log. And that's when she called me and told me that he died. And I have never really experienced, obviously there's a time frame. They're looking for him. They see a brown log. Like he's not, I don't know. But
they thought that was the dog dead, floating.
Yes.
I see.
And so it was terrible. It was horrible because she called me and she was crying, and I cried. I've never experienced death, and that's my dog. I just can't have him here. And So I'm like, we're on the phone for like an hour, like just crying. And I'm just like, this is terrible. So someone knocked at the door and it was the neighbors and they had him in a blanket. So like, here I am crying. Now I'm like smiling with tears coming down my face. It was so weird, this experience, like, but it was good. But poor thing, like, so he fell and swam all the way across the bay to the house, like literally it must have taken him 3 hours, 2 hours. He's little. He's
Wow.
a little wiener dog.
Poor
And
Oliver.
Poor Oliver. And he found rocks under their dock, because if he just went this way, he would have gone in to the ocean, like he would have died of exhaustion. So we found a little footing because of low tide, but it was coming in. And he found rocks. And so the neighborhood person, the neighborhood person heard whimpering. She was on the phone with her daughter. And so she looked under and it was Oliver. And so they got a raft, her and her husband, and took a couple pictures, obviously, and was like, and saved him and posted on Facebook. And so the power of social media, though, like they've gotten contact with my mom and tag and stuff. And his poor little paws were all like
all messed up.
They weren't like bloody, but they were like all like chewed up and stuff. Poor baby. Like, so yes, I have a dog.
Yeah.
I still
Oliver.
have a dog.
You'd still have a dog. Yay, Oliver still lives.
Yay.
Well, I'm glad it was a happy ending. I mean, that I can only imagine the stress and the sadness that you were beginning to experience going through, trying to accept.
Little superhero though, like he's invincible. Wiener dogs do not swim; they sink.
I can only imagine. I've never seen one swim.
And then when he came home, he was like frolicking again in the house, like so excited with the other dogs. I think he was just happy, it was alive. But oh my god, I'm like, dude, did you just not witness what you just did? Like he's like acting like nothing happened, like he just did like a triathlon or something.
He's like, whatever, guys, I'm just happy to be home. Feed me, cuddle me, we'll be okay. We'll be okay.
Yeah, he's still afraid of water after that happened.
Man.
Like whenever he gets like bathed, he shakes.
Oh, buddy. I had a similar, or my own version of that years ago when I lived in Seattle. My girlfriend and I were living in this place, and we were kind of on a dead end street, and we would occasionally, like in the morning, let the dog out into, it wasn't a fenced yard, right, but the dog would go out and go potty and come back. He was super good. But every once in a while, this dog, he was a pit bull lab mix, and he just, every once in a while, he would get like,
take off.
Ornery. He'd just be like, no, I'm gonna do something else. It was so like infrequent that we kind of almost forget. He would like let us forget that he would do that every once in a while, and then all of a sudden he was like, aha, bitches, I'm out. Like, and he would just take off and do something else. And this particular case was like, it was on Christmas Day, and he knew, like we went to we'd take him to the dog store and picked out a bunch of gifts for him, and like, but it like, because he was very into balls, and so like we'd get him like all these different kinds of balls and chew toys and stuff, and then we'd wrap them up and let him open them on Christmas with us when we were opening Christmas presents. Right?
Brat.
Well, he was mad that we didn't give those toys to him right away. Essentially, that's what we deduce. I mean, we don't.
That makes sense.
We're trying to read the dog's mind. Yeah, we think we know, but we let him out that morning, and then like he's like, no, I'm not coming back in. I'm like, no, hey, come back in. He's like, no, I'm good. And he keeps going down the street. I'm like, no, you can't go. No, hey, Heather, we got to go get the dog. Like, why is the dog? All the dogs doing the thing. And it was Christmas morning, and like here we are, frantic. We got in the truck and like drove. Like, because the dog is too fast. Like, you can't catch the dog. And so, and treats didn't matter. He didn't care. Any of the toys didn't care. Didn't matter.
It did not matter to him anymore. He's like,
no.
You.
Yeah, we were not cool parents at that point.
His balls.
Yeah, which he didn't have. his
Yeah.
balls.
Oh.
But so maybe he was mad about that
He was mad about
retrospectively. But what's the weirdest thing is that he lost us. We got in the truck and we're driving around. We were keeping with him for a while.
Like it's a police chase.
No, literally, like it was
lost
so bad. And there was a point at which where he bailed and like lost us. And then we spent another hour and a half, 2 hours looking for him. We're like, oh my God, we just lost our dog in a busy north end of Seattle. Like, what's gonna happen? It's Christmas Day, and like, it's her dog, man. She lost it. She was crying all day long, of course. And we we're just like, we had dinner plans that night and friends coming over, and we're just like, man, it's not gonna be a good day. This is horrible. Like, call animal control, all these people. It's Christmas. Like, how much response are you gonna get? And our friends came over, and it was like, as soon as they came over and we were explaining to them what had happened, she started crying. It starts raining outside, and then like there's a scratch at the front door.
What?
And the dog was like, it was wet outside. He was like, oh, I'm hungry now, and like wanted back. He ran around all Christmas Day, and then like showed up like when it started raining, and it just so happened to coincide.
It probably makes sense that he came back because it's raining.
Yeah, and being hungry and all that stuff. Give me 1 second. I'm going to close my blinds.
Okay.
Yeah, doggos. I love them.
They're so cute. I'm glad he came back.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
He a tantrum.
Yeah. Yeah. And I, looking back, I'm like, yeah, me too. I throw tantrums too. So like, I kind of get it, I'm curious, like, I mean, we've talked about it, trajectory, like what you want to do is release music, right? Like, I'm curious about because you have kind of a strong intuition and you have dreams from time to time and these kind of like premonitions about like who you are or what you're doing or like creative stuff. Like, how do you see, like the next few years? Like, what would you like to do? Like, do you want to release a full album? Do you want to tour? Do you want to have a band? Do you want to just stay home? Like, what's your deal?
Everything but the last one.
Stay home.
Yeah. Well, maybe, eventually I will. But I kind of want to, because I'm just getting into like the releasing game. I'm not even in it yet, but I want to kind of build a good reputation as a musician where my dream is to like play with the people that I'm inspired with. Some people say like, you've made it when the people you looked up to is now your competition. I'm not like that. I would rather like take partnership with them, if that makes sense.
Collaborate with them, versus be
eventually, I don't think I'm there yet, because in some ways I am ready to, but that doesn't mean anything. They're rock stars. So but I think what's fun is that I like to improvise a lot, especially blues. Like I think it's thanks to YouTube though for how many backing tracks there's available. So I'll plug it into my speaker and it'll be like a random 12-bar blues, and I will come up with words on the spot, and that's a great practice for me. So I'm always ready to do that with someone. So mostly like people who play instruments. I don't really know any singers that I would want to. That's not where I'm like gold at right now. I think I'm more of a singer than I am anything else. And I think that's my strongest point, which is funny because I don't practice for it. But that's what comes the easiest. I think it's the most fun.
But it sounds like you do practice it just without calling it practice, because you just love doing it.
I think there's something in that. Like, it shouldn't, like some practice seems like practice because it's tedious and stuff. But I think that's like a good teaching method to make it kind of fun. Maybe. Yeah. I wouldn't be a teacher.
I think that I think you're onto something with that. And I think whether you intentionally or not, I mean, when you, because I'm that way. If I have to learn something that's if it feels too tedious, then you know, it's going to take me a while, and I have to like, I don't know, it's a weird thing. I will eventually, if I want it bad enough, I'll eventually come around and get to it and get to the tedious work. But if you make it a game or kind of fun for me, if I can play while I do it and learn, I'll do it all, you know, I'll do it 10 times as much.
I think it's the car that makes it the most, because no one's like with you. So it's like you can put on whatever you want. Like I love this song. I think it's from Beetlejuice. It's, I don't know if it's by the same artist, but Jump in the Line.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I will play that probably either like once every 2 days, which is like a lot to play a song.
That's
Like
quite a bit.
Yeah. And then Papa Loves Mambo. Something that I love. So like obviously if I'm trying to be cool, I'm not going to be playing that. In my friends know, like I listen to whatever, but yeah, so I'm like, it's all the way up pretty much. Not like all the way, yeah, it's loud. And I'm just vibing, and so it's fun. So like it's fun to do all those different types of styles, because it's good to not just be in like your specific style. It's good to know like all these different. So it's like French jazz is a huge influence on me with my guitar. There's this one French artist called Zaz, which I think I've sent you a song by her.
Yeah.
Beautiful voice. And sometimes I like, obviously I don't know French, but I can hear the words. And it's nice to, I love their tones. They're so pretty, like so smooth, but then Zaz has a rasp, and she's awesome. So I guess, and then Melody Gardot or something, she actually did Your Heart is Black as Night, and Joe Bonamassa and Beth Hart covered it. I don't know if
that's cool.
Melody, if that's her original song. I'm actually not sure. I'm not sure, but I think. So yeah, so they all kind of like go together. All these different artists overlap with each other. And yeah, so it's fun to Spotify is awesome to have this. So like it does all of these different mixes for, I know that does it for everyone. So you would click on like Daily Mix 4 or something, has all my indie and then progressive rock and stuff. It's good for like different moods, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like if you listen to a song and you're not in that mood, if you listen to that, it sets the mood. It's cool. It's really cool. Even if you don't feel that way, you can feel like it for 3 minutes.
Sure. Well, it sounds like to me in some ways that I mean, because you started a friendship kind of with Joe Bonamassa. Am I right? Like you got to go out to see his show and stuff.
Yeah, he's awesome. Like very, very nice.
I mean, how long before we hear you singing with Joe Bonamassa?
That's actually one of like the like up there goals of mine to collab with him. That's all I really care about.
All right.
But yeah.
I think that's super important that you just said that and spoke it into existence in public, that people can hear it, and then people can go run over to his page and bug him and be like, yo.
No, it's funny though. I so stupid. I wrote on a Post-it note. Oh, this is so dumb. I was like, Joe Bonamassa and Sarah Gibson are going to be an iconic duo. I was young.
Love it. Love it. That's manifestation 101 right there. Write it down. Write it down. Put it somewhere where you can see it and say it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was young. And it's just awesome because I mean, the fact that he even has talked to me is awesome. So yeah, it that works. You just write on a Post-it note.
It could happen. I think my guess is that you release, 3 to 5 songs, singles, whatever, EP or something. And in that process, you get to share 1 or 2 of those tracks with him because you guys are in touch. You guys could, it could happen, right? And
he obviously knows. He invited me to a show, but I don't know if like I, actually really exists. Like, you know what I mean? We'll see. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure you exist.
No, sure. You know what I mean? There's a lot of, people out there. That doesn't necessarily mean that he'll collab with them.
That's true.
Really like believe in, what I do and everything. And that's not easy to ask for. So
I hear all of that. And I will say that you wrote that on a Post-it note when you were much younger. Mm-hmm. And then look, all these years later, Joe Bonamassa invited you to his show. Okay. So that's a step in the right direction. And so you keep doing your thing.
I need more Post-it notes.
Yeah. Don't lose the Post-it note. If you don't have it, rewrite it.
I have it.
Okay.
Yeah, after all these years of moving and stuff, I've moved a lot, like throughout my childhood. Yeah, not as deep as that.
That's okay. Yeah, no, that's super. I think that's part of it. I mean, I had I remember my friend Jared. He's a chiropractor in Seattle. He was the one that made me. I was going through a downturn of not having a job. Yeah. I was kind of silly enough to quit a good job just so I could go to band practice, to be honest. Like I was like, take this job and shove it. Oh, sorry, I can't, it was a good job. I was working at Whole Foods. It was like but it was a funny thing where, sadly, my grandpa Johnson, he had a call with me like a month or so before he passed away. And he was like, Chris, kid, or he didn't say Chris, Christopher, mom says you got a good job. Don't quit that job. That's a good, and I was like, yeah.
Oh my God.
And then one day, then I was like, they were like, no, you can't switch your schedule for your band practice. And I was like, the heck I can. Take my keys. I'm going to band practice. And then it was so bad though. Like it was the first, because I'm so good at getting jobs that I was being a douchebag in the moment. I was like, I was testing the hand of fate because I was so used to it in the past. I would just quit jobs and I'd have another one like in 3 days and no problem. Good, Chris. And so I quit the job and then I couldn't get a job for like 4 months. It was the weirdest thing. But in that process, my buddy Jared, Dr. Jared Kohler, coolest like chiropractor on the planet, if you ask me, because he's my chiropractor, my buddy. But he's super smart. We became friends. And during that time, I was going to him occasionally for treatments. And I told him like, hey man, I don't have a job. I'm kind of bummed out, blah, blah. I can't seem to get a job. And he basically said, get a Post-it note and write down like, what is it what kind of statement you have to figure out? Maybe it might take a bunch of times writing the statement down to figure out what is the statement that encapsulates the thing that you want to do, that you aspire to be, to that, what kind of energy do you want to participate in and be a part of? And he helped me write this statement, and I can't remember it exactly, but it was essentially, I can be a proficient musician making music that I love and easily support myself financially, or something like that. It was like some encapsulated thing because I was trying to do the band.
Right.
And all this stuff. And I had in my mind that I wanted an office job and not like more grocery jobs and stuff. Right. But I wanted to be in the health and wellness industry because my girl at the time had a job with a different chiropractor that was super cush and cool, paid well.
Right.
And she got all these benefits in the health department. Like she could get all this stuff. So I was like, I want something like that. Aww. And it was that moment, I feel like I still feel like right now, here today, in this moment, that I'm still benefiting from that day with Jared, where he was like, stop thinking about the things that you don't want, write down the positive affirmation that you do want, and then make multiple versions of that. Have a piece of it in your pocket, have it on your wall when you wake up, read it, say it out loud as many times as you can throughout the day.
It's so true.
And it's
It is.
true. I'm doing the thing that I wanted to do.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
awesome. You still talk to him?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Actually, yeah, what a great dude. He's such a cool guy. Eventually I'm going to actually end up starting another podcast that's like for non-musicians. Like I want to talk to all my favorite people that aren't, musicians specific. And he's one of the top people I'll have on there, because he's
Totally do that.
super, like, it was cool because when I met him, he had all these Alex Gray paintings. I don't know if you know who Alex Gray is, but he's a famous artist out of New York who does a lot of like X-ray style paintings of human bodies, but it's all like showing energy. It's like really accurate, like cutaways. It's almost like he's doing like he could do like textbooks, but instead he draws in all the energy and stuff. And he did all the covers, most of the covers for Tool. So if you see the Tool covers with the cutaway looking like humans, Alex Gray. Yeah. And when I walked into the chiropractor's office, I was like, "Oh, you know Alex Gray?" And he's like, "Yeah, like, how do you know Alex Gray?" I'm like, "Oh, he does art for my favorite band, Tool." And he's like, "Who's Tool?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, do you like rock at all?" And he's like, and so I was like, "This is the band." And they talk about, the human condition and stuff. And so cool. I turned my chiropractor onto Tool, and then we just had this like thing. So then he got into kind of heavy music, maybe through me, I guess, in a way. And then he started coming out to my old band's shows in Seattle and set up his chair, and he would adjust us before and after our shows, because we're headbangers, right?
Perfect.
Yeah, he's like, you're screwing your neck up. Let me help you. It's like, okay, that's cool. Yeah, good times. I'm curious, were you raised with? No, what was that?
It's like 21 questions.
Yes. I don't know if we've hit 20 yet, but
no, the game, Chrys.
Oh yeah. The
21st question.
21st question. Here we go.
Okay.
Were you raised with a like in a church or of a spiritual belief of any kind, and is it still present for you if you were?
I was raised going to church, but I was really young because my parents divorced when I was like 13, so it kind of just went away, like going to church. But I've always had a connection with like a higher being, and I feel like it's important for me sometimes, even if I'm going through something, the higher self of me says it's okay. Like, don't worry. Even if I'm going through something and it seems like it's like terrible or the end, there's a higher power, I guess, if you want to call it, that kind of settles my doubts and stuff. So it's not necessarily church. I don't go to church. I did for a short time go to Chrys Fellowship because of their awesome concerts.
That's cool.
I don't know if you're familiar. They have crazy sound systems. So I would stay the whole service just for the end of the music. Was super cool. Like they had live music, if that's So it's just I don't have necessarily a religion that I belong to. I think if whatever makes you feel better. But I don't I guess my version of church is like having a connection with myself. And meditation helps. Just having a sort of calmness is my higher being.
Nice.
Makes sense.
How did you get introduced to meditation, and is it a regular practice, or is it something that kind of just happens when it happens, or?
No, I try to. I live near the beaches and Mother Beach. I live near the beaches.
The beaches.
Yeah,
It's
that
okay.
sounds so weird the way I okay.
I
Like
am the beach.
the
I am the
ocean.
beach.
I am Mother Beach. No, the ocean. That's the way I said it. So I'll either be driving, and that's my form of meditation. I'll think about what I have to do, not have to do, but think about my meditation and just kind of autopilot my car, which is more safe than it sounds. But so I guess I go outside a lot, and I like nature, and that's when I'll meditate. Yeah, no one really taught me it. I like yoga. I do. So I was I guess you could say still a gymnast. I have like a tumble mat in the backyard, and I that was my first hobby, was gymnastics. So I still
Mm.
like the back handsprings and stuff.
Did you learn any handstands or anything like that, or?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I competed.
Cool.
So that was a lot of fun. I like the trampoline, but I don't have one in the backyard, which I kind of want one. Yeah. So with that, you have to stretch, and then I got into yoga, and then I started to work out, and I like a bulkier like legs and stuff. So you have to stretch.
Mm-hmm.
So recently I really got into, I used to work at a yoga studio. So I like that environment. So meditation kind of just came with it.
That makes sense. That's awesome. So, yeah, I mean, I share the love for yoga, obviously, teach it and been a part of that for a long time. And I think the mindfulness and the meditation part can come in so many, it sounds like it comes in a lot of different places in your life that you kind of try to find.
Music. I think when you're creating and you're
100%.
not creating for a purpose, I think that's a form of meditation.
So you just said not creating for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that, because that means that you're really open-ended to like, what is this going to be? Yeah. I'm not even sure. It's not my job to know what it is yet, type of vibe, it sounds like.
Yeah. You're just kind of creating for the purpose of the music, and that, like, I guess sometimes I have to not bring, like, if I go to visit my mom's piano, I don't bring my phone in, or else I'm going to try and record it for a video or something like that. So I try to separate it between, okay, I'm going to make this a piece, and then this is a form of expression just for me.
Nice. I like that a lot. I think, and I assume it's probably this way for most musicians, but for myself, being a part of the band for so many years in Seattle, like, and for a good first part of it, being under the delusion that like, we're going to get signed and like for the world and do the thing. Right. Like, so like, which I'm super thankful for having those delusions, because it was part of the motivation to do stupid things that you just wouldn't do otherwise. Like, you wouldn't spend all your money and all your time on gear and band practice space and like doing the thing if you didn't think something was going to come out of it, right? Like, on some level. But it also in ultimately it showed me that I was like, oh, like, after a while, like, if I'm doing this for other people's solely for other people's like appreciation or whatever, then I'm kind of doing, it's hollow. I'm doing it for the wrong reason, right? But the thing that I will never, I mean, there's so many things, but the main thing about being in a band and putting all that time and effort into like getting all these people to agree on how many measures of this and then how many measures of that and what key it goes, blah blah blah, all these things, is because it's when you hit the stage, right? And like, yeah, we recorded some shows, but like, no video of any show, no matter how HD it's going to be, can communicate the feeling that you get being there and delivering the thing in such a way. So so finding the point in your practice, in your expression, that is, you know what, like, if there was 2 people here or nobody here, or 2 million people here, I would still want to do this thing, you
Right.
know, and you seem to be grounded in that. That's cool.
Yeah. I do it not necessarily for me or for anyone. I do it because I love it, if that makes sense. It doesn't, it's not selfish and it's not selfless. It's just is what I want to do.
Cool. Somewhere it's like, sounds like you found a balance in between that. Yeah, it's not be working necessarily for some particular goal. Other I mean, obviously you have goals, otherwise you don't do anything. But
I'm not sure what drives me to like wake up and do it, but it does. Like it's not like yesterday I woke up and I was so excited to play the tenor. It's so it's just it brings me a lot of joy. I don't really party like at all. I don't drink. I don't do anything fun. Just I never grew up, even though the party scene was happening in where I lived near Miami, and I just never, I think music kind of kept me from that because I was so obsessed with it, and just I never really would find that appealing for me, at least. It just me though. So I don't even drink really wine. I don't know, I like root beer and cream soda. I don't like coffee, but don't really like other stuff.
It's great.
So I spent a lot of time doing this. I don't, you know what I mean? The last time that I went out was with my saxophone teacher, Dolores, and she's 80.
Oh my gosh.
She's awesome. She invited me to this saxophonist that she met, Maddie. And that's where I fell in love with the tenor, because he was playing it and I'm like, damn, that's awesome. So she got us a table. It was outside, like on the water and everything. It was just a nice setting. And so I enjoyed that. Sort of like companionship and stuff. So Dolores.
That's so cool. I wonder, obviously the music is strong with you. So that's a grounding factor, but I wonder about being in close proximity to the mega party scene, if that actually kind of helped you not partake in. You're like, oh, that seems like a bunch of noise, I'm gonna do something else.
I don't know, like I don't know if I'll ever be into it. I know I won't. I can't even say. I don't know if maybe. No. I think when you have like some good people around you, it's much better than a whole ass crowd. Like it's like I like intimacy with a few, like a good group of people. We can all talk. We can hear each other talk. Go get food or something. So, but people like to dance and I like to dance, but I don't want to. The one thing that I don't really find myself doing is like dressing up so I could get picked up by someone.
Good for you.
I don't know. It doesn't seem fun. I'd rather, I'll do my makeup if I want to do my makeup. I don't want to like, I don't know. It seems, I don't know. People could do whatever they want, but I won't want to do that. Doesn't seem like that's where you find the good guys. I don't know. I feel like or good girls.
You think? Yeah, exactly.
No, that's not where. Well, actually, that's not true. Let me rephrase that. That's not where I can't even rephrase. That's not where you'll find the good partner for you. Because right now, at their moment of time, they're there to have fun. They're not there to like, find the love of their life at the moment, but maybe later, So I feel like everyone has a party phase.
Yeah. Just not you. Just not you. Just not you.
No, I guess I like dancing to, when no one's like, I guess that's my form of party. Oh my God, I'm so lame.
No, it's super cool. It's fine. No, it's like, it's actually, it's so cool because it's not, because you're not the norm. Like it's like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like that it's easier to just be like, oh, I don't know what to do with my life. I'm gonna drink and party, right? Like, so not to say that there's nothing wrong. Again, we both agree there's nothing wrong with it, but that's an easier path to take than to say, kind of boring, guys. Like, doesn't really interest me. And so I'm just gonna genuinely opt out of that and choose quality smaller groups with people that like really feed my mind and my heart and
not me, who I care about, my family. It's much better for me.
It sounds like it. Yeah, I like that vibe. I'm into it. One last question. What have you been listening to lately? And like, is there any, like, what are you like vibing on? What is there any artist that you've recently like kind of obsessed over or anything that we should share and maybe the people are listening to it? Who's that? James Brown
and Stevie Wonder.
Amazing. Any particular tracks or albums?
Higher Ground is Sir Duke. To be honest, I love Superstition. I mean, it's his most famous song. And then James Brown, Papa's Got a Brand New Bag. Love that song right now. It's on repeat. So like I'm trying to like play guitar and like they tend to stay on the higher 3 strings. So I'm like kind of trying to add that to my mixes to learn guitar, to play like sorry, I'm not close enough to the mic. To play like that. So that's not the vibe of this song that I'm going to be releasing. It's more of like rock. But I think later on, as I develop my sound, I do like soul. It's funny for a redhead, but like Motown is super super fun. And I like horns in my mix. I tried to find a way to add horns to this mix. It just wasn't. I can't. It doesn't work. I haven't tried it, but maybe I'll try it. But except I do want to add the tenor at the end.
Sure.
Yeah.
Horns can be difficult to arrange too. Like, so, and you probably know that, like in the process, if you get more than one horn in there and you're trying to find where they sit together. Yeah,
but you can kind of like, there are like templates or like a certain way that you can go around. Like for soul music, there's a specific kind of thing, there's patterns in it, so I'll go off of that. And then I like Royal Blood. Have you ever heard of them?
Oh yeah, they rock.
They're awesome. And so I listened to the album with, it's called, I'm not sure what the album's called, but it's Figure It Out, or Figure Out. Or How Did We Get So Dark? There's a bunch of different ones. It's Black and White is the one that I just shuffle.
That's the name of the band, Black and White?
No, sorry, Royal Blood.
Oh,
their album is a black and white picture that I list. I'm trying to think of it. But yeah, I remember I tried to cover that song and I couldn't play the guitar for it. It's not, well, I think it's a bass, isn't it? Isn't it a bass?
I think I think it is bass.
I think
predominantly
bass. It's not guitar. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, and then I have a playlist of like piano and strings that I have on Spotify, and so I listen to that on my like night drives. I don't know how it goes from like James Brown to that at night. Like I'm like, I have my coffee in the morning and I'm like, I drive this one road that turns into like a no man's land, and I'll either drive near the beaches or down like a road that like, because I can kind of go fast on that road, so and no one's gonna like see.
Nice. I love that the car is such an integral place for you
I love cars.
to do your thing, to have your personal time. And but it's not just like personal time, it's like also ends up being like this kind of practice slash like immersion for you, you know, to experience music.
It's
That's
great.
cool.
My I used to stay at home and listen to like records. That would be my form of like, okay, I'm listening to music and I'm learning. But now everything's like either on YouTube or Spotify, and I'll pretty much look up whatever artists like I heard about if I went to a record shop. And that's why I don't get records anymore. Like I love records and I have a great record player and sound system, but the car, I don't know, it's just different.
It's cool though. Do you ever mess with you're interested in any of the 90s grunge music or scene?
Yeah.
Soundgarden at all?
Yes.
Chris Cornell?
Yes.
Yeah, because I've been on a kick recently. I just kind of did a couple. I've learned some riffs from Super Unknown album, and
We could totally, if you do a guitar, I'll sing to it.
oh, that see, I was just gonna say, like, it'd be so cool to hear you do some Chris Cornell, because you have this rasp, and I think you would do it. I don't know. I was like, that was my question.
Fell on Black Days.
Fell on Black Days.
Yeah, we could do that.
Ooh, I'll start messing with it. I'll see.
I love that song.
I'll see if I can do it justice. and then I'll get back to you. But either way, even without me, it'd be cool if you did something with Cornell, anything, just because he's one of my favorite singers. I have a lot of favorite singers, but Chrys is there's something, I don't know, like it almost makes me want to cry just even like thinking about it, because like I'm still sad about.
Yeah.
I'm still mad that like his life could end in such a way, like when things were coming back, like, and then they finally came back and put out an album, and I delivered gear. I was like, when that album was being recorded in Seattle, like they were recording it in downtown Seattle, and I was working at Ampeg, and like their tech was like, hey, can you bring down a couple of amps for us to the studio? Don't tell anybody we're in the studio. I'm like, oh my god, like I get to just like wheel in some amps into the studio and look around during the King Animal, which turned into the King Animal album. And I've, you know, met Matt Cameron and met Ben Shepherd, and I actually end up having dinner with Kim Thale and Mike Inez around this one night. Never met Chrys, but I'd seen him live a few times, seen the band a handful of times, and I don't know, it messes me up good. All that grunge stuff came at a really proper time for me, so I don't know, be interesting to see.
I feel that. Yeah, I think honestly that would be another genre that I should get into, and you might see a couple covers coming out.
Cool.
From that genre.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like it would fit.
No, I won't say it.
What? No?
No, well, the About a Girl.
Yeah.
Cover. No, Puddle of Mud.
Puddle of Mud.
No. Do you remember the cover of by Puddle of Mud, About a Girl, Nirvana?
Oh no. Oh yeah. No, that's more recent. That was more recent, right?
No.
It's an older one?
Okay. Yeah.
No, I guess I don't.
It's funny. You'll have to look it up.
Okay. Maybe you send it to me. I'll just remind me.
Yeah, it's Puddle of Mud, About a Girl.
Okay.
Cover.
I was thinking, am I wrong? Isn't that like it's a No Doubt song, yeah? Or no? No. I'm sorry. Nirvana, obviously Nirvana.
Obviously.
But I was connecting because it's still 90s. I was thinking Just a Girl, which was the No Doubt song.
That's so funny that you did that one instead.
Sorry. Yeah. My brain was in a different place.
No, but it's in my brain a lot, that video.
Okay. All right. I'll check it out.
You have to look it up, and you'll have
then I'll know.
You have to put a clip of it in this screen sharing.
Okay. It'll be here or there. here.
Okay.
One of
Okay.
those
You
places.
promise? You
Yeah.
promise?
Yes, I'll try.
No, you
Hopefully
try. No, you'll
don't-
do it.
As long as there's no copyright problem. I don't know. We'll figure that out. I'll look at it. I can put a picture.
Okay. Yeah. You do
Yeah.
a picture of him screaming.
Okay. You got it. And it's
He's not a bad singer though. I don't know what happened. It's a hard song.
Well, Sarah, thank you so much. You've spent like damn near 2 hours chatting with me, and that is so cool. And yeah, thanks for letting me be your first interview. That's super
My
cool.
97, right? 97 episode.
97, number 97. That's it. Yep. And you're right between John Dretto and Steve Vai.
My fave.
Yeah.
That's
So it'll
awesome.
be,
I saw that video. That's he's so cute. Okay.
yeah. I know he's a handsome, incredidly beautiful
Oh,
person.
he's a great person.
Yeah,
No,
and he's
that's-
sweet too. We were just texting earlier before we jumped on. Yeah, he's like a very genuine guy, and I'm excited to know him. Yeah.
It's not you don't really see that a lot with like the younger guitarists. They're like, look at me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there's still a real nice thread of humility in within all of his success, and that makes it more interesting and cool to tune into what he's doing, you know. So
I love it.
Cool. Well, thanks again. I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Chrys.
You're welcome, Sarah.
Thank you so much. This is really cool. I appreciate you talking with me.
It's my pleasure. I'll talk to you again real soon.
Okay.
All right.
See ya.
Bye.
Players Pick Podcast, Picks and Perspective with Chrys Johnson. Pool table.
Players Pick Podcast is brought to you in part by our good friends at Dunlop Guitar Products, Kiesel Custom Guitars, and our favorite new coffee company, Road Roaster Coffee. Use coupon code PLAYERSPICK for 20% off your first order at roadroastercoffee.com.
310.